facts all day. Anthony's like, nah, I got the better parlay. Argue about the spread, it's a fierce debate. But when it comes to Wildcats, they align their fate. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Blitz the Bookie podcast. I'm Charlie Winkle. Anthony is down in Mexico this week. He is taking some bull riding classes. He's always talking shit to me, saying how bull riding is easy and how 8 seconds is nothing on a bull. So he is down in Mexico working with a top bull riding champion, and he's trying to set a new standard for bull riding, 15 seconds. So when Anthony gets back, we're getting some cameras, we're putting him on a bull, and we're going to find out if Anthony can become the Rick Pitino of bull riding and go 15 seconds instead of 8.
He's trying to double it.
He's going to double it. So with Anthony out, I wanted to find somebody to come in, sit with me, and co-host this week. So I'm here with a good friend, somebody that you all have heard about before if you've listened to the Blitz the Bookie podcast. He's one of the top producers in the game. He is the man that created and produced the new Blitz the Bookie jingle that you hear on the way in and out of the show. A former podcast host himself, a great friend, a good dad, a good husband, and definitely the coolest of the three Onan brothers.
No lies there.
He is the man, Josh Onan. Josh, what's up? How you feeling about co-hosting the Blitz the Bookie podcast with me this week?
What an introduction. I mean, I almost cried twice. I mean, I was in tears a little bit.
I had to come strong.
You came extra strong. I mean, it's like a best man speech or something. But no, I'm super excited to be here. Hopefully I can, fill the shoes of Anthony Roberts. I wear a 10.5. He's got to be a 12 or a 13. I hope he's enjoying his break in Mexico this week. Try to do him justice. Try to do the Blitz the Bookie podcast people justice. Hope you guys enjoy me. I'll try not to suck, but let's get this. Let's get started.
I'm sure you ain't gonna suck, Josh. What do you think about Anthony and his bull riding? I haven't showed anybody, but I got bribing material for Anthony. The next time he brings up Cal on the Blitz the Bookie podcast.
Did you say Cal or Cal?
Calipari.
Okay. I was making
Calipari.
sure you said Bulls. I didn't know he was going
his boy. His boy. I'm not going to dig on him too much because he's not here, but next time he brings up Cal, I might just release the pictures of Anthony on the bull down there. But he's working on 15 seconds. That's what
I hope he gets it. I don't know if he was getting the 8. I mean, he's no Luke Perry, if y'all remember the movie 8 Seconds. Let's hope Anthony can do that.
He told me he killed it. He said there was some young 20-year-olds in there, and he said none of them could make it. He said he was killing it. So actually, if you look back at the picture, it's funny. Somebody else pointed out there's a little boy in the background, and he's like in awe, dude. He's like, it's a real cowboy right there, boy.
Anthony may not come back. He's just down there running bulls.
He might not. But if I can get him on a bull when he gets back, we're going to do it, and we'll post it live because that would be entertainment. But he always says bull riding's easy, so I can't wait to see. So
hey, they still have it down at PBR down at 4th Street Live. The ex-Louisville great Chucky Hepburn was seen on the internet this week down at PBR riding the bull.
Really?
I think they had on easy level because they really weren't trying to get him hurt before I guess he does like that.
So that's a real simulator type deal?
Yes, they have a real one down at PBR at 4th Street Live. No lie, Chucky Hepburn was on it.
Yeah.
From Louisville. He's trying to, he can't get hurt before he tries out for the G League.
Chucky Hepburn.
It was on a bull at
the
PBR.
Point guard for the Cards.
Yes, I am not lying. It is
video.
Yes, I think it is actual live video. It's better than Anthony.
So we got a showdown.
We're going Anthony versus Chucky.
I'm taking him down there. If we can't find a real bull, that's where we're going. Can they set it to 15 seconds?
I think it has to do with the guy on the joystick. I think they have a girl level and then I'm tired of this dude level, and they just kind of toss them. So,
right. So they can go 15 seconds then.
Anthony won't on that. I'm no shot on Anthony. You may be a good bull rider, but I've seen him toss some of the best cowboys around out of those bars down there.
We might have to do a Blitz the Bookie episode live. and all do it. We'll just all get together and see who's got the bull riding skills. I know I have. I've never tried one. Have you ever done one of those?
I've done it. I'm not good at it.
I've never done it.
I mean, it's just, I got jeans on. It's made for a girl in like a short skirt. Her thighs can kind of hug that plastic bull. I got jeans on. You're talking 2-3 seconds for me.
I've never tried it and really never wanted to try it, but I might do it. If Anthony goes 15 seconds, I'll get on the bull. So we'll see what happens.
Sounds like a bet to me.
All right, guys. Of course, this is going to be another basketball-heavy show. Sweet 16, Elite 8 action this past weekend. We're sad around here. We'll get into all of it, but I do have one non-basketball topic here. It's probably the one topic outside of basketball that everybody's been talking about. Torpedo bats. The Yankees found some scientist,
some guy from MIT,
and he apparently takes wood from one part of the bat, transfers it to the sweet spot, and next thing you know, the Yankees are would they hit 10 home runs in that first game?
I think 9 and scored 21 runs, 20-something runs.
It was 20-9. They hit 9 or 10 home runs. I saw the bats. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was absurd. How long is baseball? I don't know. 150 years? 120?
Yeah, 150 years.
150
it's
years.
America's game.
Yeah, it was the 1800s.
Yes.
So we're talking 150 years.
I thought you described it best. Like, everybody calls it the torpedo bat, but you described it best the other night. It looks like a bowling pin, kind of.
The bottom of the bowling pin. Yeah, it does. I don't get it. I mean, I guess I get it. It's all about, these days it's all about analytics, and now they're getting scientists and shit to look at it, change these bats. I know they've changed the balls a bunch of times. I'm not for that either. Get a ball, whatever the weight of the ball, keep it the same. I don't get the changing of the ball, and I definitely don't get the changing of the bats. I've heard a lot of different opinions on this the last couple of days. Of course, you got half of the internet that is frying them, just saying they're cheaters, the Yankees are scumbags. But I also am reading, hey, the bats are legal, which I don't know how. I don't understand how they would be, but technically they're legal, and there's other players from other teams using them. I don't like it. And it's because it's not fair for the pitchers. I actually have said in the past, look, I'm not sitting here saying do steroids. If there's any kids out here listening, steroids are bad. But when it comes to like the steroid era in baseball, who gives a shit? Let them all do steroids. It's their body. The batters can do steroids. The pitchers can do steroids. You give the batter a new bat that's juiced, the pitcher can't do much, and I don't like it. I don't care if it's legal or not. I don't like it. What do you think about it, Josh?
My thing is with baseball, everything is number oriented. Everybody loves the numbers of baseball, from your home run king to your batting average to the bats. Everything is always uniform, except one thing, the fields. The fields are totally different in every ballpark. So they break it down, they're always about the numbers, but then for some reason in Boston, you got like a 90-foot wall in left field, but
it's about 200 feet away, but it's 100 feet tall.
I mean, if you want everything to be uniform, go back to having everybody with the same baseball field. I'm not against the bat. I think most of the hate just goes because it's the Yankees, and we all hate the Yankees. Me and Charlie's both favorite team are in the AL East. He's an Orioles guy. I'm a Red Sox guy. And the Yankees are now not only with their payroll, but now they're ahead of the game in the science part of baseball.
You're probably right, too. It probably does have a lot to do with it being the Yankees. But, man, I just sit here and think, if it was the Twins, if the story came out and it was the Twins got these damn torpedo bowling pin bats and they're blasting home runs, I'd probably think the same way.
I think if the Twins were using torpedo bats, I would probably start watching the Twins. I'm not lying.
Yeah,
that's just how it would
right.
be. If the Twins and the Rays are using torpedo bats, we're going to start watching the Rays and the Twins. But if the Yankees, we're just going to throw the hate. That's my opinion.
And if they're all for offense, but my thing is they're not all for offense. The Orioles were hitting too many home runs in left field in their stadium, so they changed it, and they got now left field. They can't even hit the ball out of left field anymore. So where are they at with it? Like I like the argument that you made about the fields. Why aren't the fields the same?
I don't know how that works. There's certain requirements. Each right field, left field, center field has to be a certain something. I mean, I guess the Red Sox must have been grandfathered in.
Yeah, no shit.
But there are parameters that they have to meet. But even like some people have more room on first base to the dugout than they do in other fields. Your first baseman can catch more foul balls. Some stops are deeper.
Yeah.
So all the fields are all different. I mean, there's a concrete wall at Wrigley Field that has grass on it.
I actually think it's kind of cool that they're unique like that and all of them are different, but I've never really thought about why it is like that. Because, yeah, it's the only sport, I guess, besides golf. Mm-hmm. But it is kind of weird that they're all there. I like it. I like the fields. And I could probably be swayed on the bats. My initial thought is I don't like it for the pitchers. I guess we need a bigger sample size. The main question to me is, how are they legal?
I seen a small little write-up about it because the barrel dimension and everything is still the same.
So the widest part of the barrel right now still can't be any wider than whatever their parameters are.
Right. There's
So
just tapers off at one end now.
So that tells me, I mean, that part of the bat, how did they add wood to it if it can't be any wider? How did they add wood?
I don't know if it's more dense.
Yeah, maybe the density of it. I don't know. Let's get the MIT guy on here.
I'll call him. I know some people in New York.
I can be swayed on this, but initially I don't like it. And Josh, you're probably right. Maybe it does have a little bit to do with it being the Yankees.
I swear, if it was the Mariners, we'd all be like staying up late watching Seattle games. Like, how many home runs are the Mariners going to hit tonight? But if the Yankees are doing it, like, I hate these motherfuckers.
So how long is it going to take for just everybody to be using them? Not everybody, because, I mean, Shohei, he don't need to change his bat.
And
Aaron Judge don't need to change his bat.
And most baseball players are such creatures of habit. They don't like to change their socks, the chew that they're dipping, their helmets. You know, they're going to be the same all the time. But
I think that differs, though, because – and the reason I say that is because of Cal Ripken. And, you know, I watched Cal for years, changed his batting stance 50 times. I mean, a lot of these guys try to get out of slumps by doing different stuff. But I do agree, for the most part, there is a lot of superstition in baseball for sure. And Aaron Judge probably ain't going to be using the torpedo bat. You know what I'm saying?
No way.
Like, well, why would he even take the chance of messing up what he's got going on?
I think he's already hit 5 home runs in 3 games.
Yeah.
So
let us know what you think about the torpedo bats. I can be swayed, but as of right now, look, I was a pitcher. I was a quarterback. So I got to have the pitchers back a little bit. Let them take steroids. That's what I say. Let them all take
let them juice.
All right. So, yeah, baseball did start. My Orioles are hot. Beat your boys today in opening day at Camden Yards. And I think they went 2-1 in their opening. So they're 3-1 right now. We actually had 6 home runs in the first game. I think we've got 10 or 11 already in the first 3 or 4 games. So Orioles are starting hot. What's the Red Sox record, you know?
Not even looked at it. I've looked
You
at the
ain't
Reds.
looked at it.
I was
It's a
watching
long season,
I
ain't
was
it?
watching basketball all weekend, babysitting a house. So baseball viewing was very limited this week. I kind of been following the Reds a little bit just because they're close. I want to see what Ellie De La Cruz was going to do. I know the Reds started 1-2, typical Reds.
Did I hear that he had a hit for the cycle in the first game?
That is incorrect.
That's incorrect. Okay. But, yeah, I did see that they've started off like shit. They're actually winning right now 6-0 over the Rangers. I'm going to check real quick. I know it's a long season, but Orioles 3. Actually, we're 3-2. I missed one. We're 3-2. Y'all are 1-4, dude. And they were talking big about the Red Sox this year. They're talking like this is going to be the Red Sox year. I actually seen a couple people picking them to go to the World Series.
We're second half team after the All-Star break is really when the Red Sox hit their stride.
1-4. We still got a handful. 1, 2. I always like to watch who's going to be the last team to get a win. We do still have some winless teams. The Tigers, the Twins, 0-3, 0-4.
Get them torpedo bats, baby. They don't have the torpedo bats.
The Twins, we were just talking about. The Twins were good last year, too. They're 0-4. The Braves are 0-4. I don't know what kind of turnover they had, but the Braves are usually pretty good. Rough start for them. Undefeated, the Dodgers.
Of course.
They're just going to win it all, ain't they?
When you got $1 billion payroll.
They're going to win it all.
But Mookie Betts is out. I mean, he weighs like 125 pounds now. He lost all that weight.
What'd they say? He got sick or something?
He's got some mysterious disease. I think they said what it was, but I know he's lost 35, 40 pounds.
I feel like the Dodgers are just going to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals undefeated. The Yankees 3-0. Freaking
Torpedo bats.
fucking cheaters. All right, before we do jump into all the action, let's talk just a little bit here. I almost called you Anthony. Coaching carousel. How did it start, Josh? Sean Miller? No, the Texas coach got fired.
Texas coach was fired before he walked out of the stadium in the play-in game.
Yeah, they did say that, didn't they?
Yes, he was fired before he left the arena.
And they could have won that game.
Yes, it was close.
It was close. They could have won. They could have easily won that game at the end there. And he gets fired.
They lost to Xavier.
Yeah,
and this is where it gets weird.
So they lose to Xavier.
Xavier loses to Illinois.
The very next round, Xavier loses to Illinois. Like Josh said, before the Texas coach, I don't even know his name. You know his name?
No.
Before he gets out of the building, he's fired. Xavier loses. I think it was just, the next day?
It might have been a few days later.
Was it?
Yes.
Sean Miller leaves Xavier, takes the job at Texas, and now Ricky P. Jr. leaves New Mexico and goes to Xavier. So a little bit of a carousel there. And then my boys, the Terps, their run ends this week, and it was a weird week. A lot of talk about Kevin Willard throughout the week. Josh just told me, which I didn't even know, that they had a team dinner.
Like the team dinner before the game or the night before the game. He did not attend it.
Did not attend the team dinner. And not sure exactly what was said or if it was public, but did hear that there was some shots at maybe the AD, the university. I have heard that, let's go ahead and say Willard left. He's out.
Villanova.
Yeah, he took the Villanova job, and I think everybody knew a day or two before the Florida game last week. I think it was pretty much written in stone. All the outlets were reporting that something was going on. From what I was hearing from some people in Maryland, he's not happy with kind of having to share the resources at Maryland. Of course, Maryland, like probably any major university, Power 5, they're trying to be football schools. The football's where the money comes, and they're trying to be a football school. Maryland is not a football school, never really have been, but I'm sure they see those dollar signs, and they're trying really hard, which means, guess what? They're putting a lot of money into their football team. How many players you got on a football team, Josh? College.
108.
A lot. I don't know how many of them's getting paid, but it's a lot. So they're spending money there. Maryland is also right now #1 team, I believe, in the country in lacrosse, and they're always in the top 5 or 10. I know most people don't know about lacrosse, but if you're from the East Coast, lacrosse and soccer, they're huge.
Those lacrosse guys are getting NIL money.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I'm not sure how much, but I guarantee you those schools on the East Coast where it's big, those top lacrosse players, they're getting paid too. So I think Willard had a little bit of a problem with what was going on there, sharing the resources. And let's be real, Villanova don't even have a football team. So, all these schools are battling mainly with the football for the money. He's going to go to Villanova and get whatever he wants.
They got the resources. So, they're national champions.
And isn't he a Big East guy anyways?
Yes.
So he did coach under Pitino,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Was that at Louisville?
Yes.
So he's a Big East guy. I don't know where he's from, but he might even be from up Northeast. I'm not sure, but I think it's going to be a good move for him. The Maryland fans are not happy.
They can't be.
They're not. They were probably going to be mad either way because I know they liked him and he's a good coach. But I think it's kind of the way it went down. I just don't think they're happy with it. I don't know where they're going to go from here, but I did hear some rumblings. You heard any rumblings?
No, I didn't. That was going to be my next question for you.
Steve Blake.
I mean, hometown guy, national champ. I love that. I love that.
I think Steve Blake kind of threw his own name out there.
I hope he did.
So I don't exactly know where that's going to go, but
I mean, I hope next week when y'all do this show, you come out in a Steve Blake jersey because he has been announced as the coach at Maryland. That would be awesome.
I can promise you one thing. He ain't going to leave Maryland for Villanova.
No.
Now, if he becomes some crazy good coach and gets offered, an NBA job or the Kentucky job or something crazy like that, maybe he'd leave. But he's a Maryland guy. I don't know how good of a coach he is. I do think he's been doing some assistant coaching, maybe in the G League or something. I'm not sure exactly.
I think you're right. He's been in the G League.
I'm not sure where he's at. I don't have a clue how good of a coach he is. And maybe it would be a terrible hire. But
it'd be fun for at least a season or like that first month.
I like it, man. And I'm not usually one to like hires like that.
Like Mark Pope?
No, Mark Pope was at least a head. Mark Pope was a head coach for years.
Right, he had experience doing it before. He's recruited kids before.
He had years of experience as a head coach. It's more of the guys that are getting that first shot.
Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, there's been a few of them. Steve Blake, I think, would be a spark for Maryland. And I don't know how good of a coach he is. I don't know how he would be with the recruiting. And we've talked about it. The recruiting's not a lot of recruiting anymore. It's more paying the guys. So I don't know, man. I heard another there was two Maryland players. I can't remember. Might have been I can't remember who the other one was. Oh, I do know who it was. There was somebody else that put their name in there too.
From Maryland. Joe Smith?
Another point guard.
Juan Dixon?
Gravis Vasquez.
Oh, really?
Which I think
he was a baller.
I think he's also an assistant coach somewhere. I don't know where. I like both of them.
Yes. Me being a little more old school and, kind of growing up with Blake in his prime, I'm all in on Blake for you. I really like that. Vasquez, I was not as excited. I mean, I liked watching him play. He was a good ball player. But Steve Blake, I watched him for a few years. He was a Laker for a while. He's tough as nails.
Tough as nails. He will fight you.
He
will fight you
Sneaky
real
tough.
quick.
Sneaky
Matter
tough.
of fact, there's video.
He's squaring up.
There's video of one of his practices. I don't think it was at Maryland.
I think it was.
Maybe it was at Maryland.
I thought it was in the NBA.
Maybe it was.
When he was squaring up. He was ready to go.
Oh, he squared up with somebody. I think they might have been some punches thrown, but Steve Blake is a gangster.
He is.
He will fight you. I don't care who you are. He will fight you. I don't know where Steve Blake is from. Is he from Maryland?
That I do not know.
I'm about to find out.
We didn't have Google back then when he played in Maryland.
No, we didn't, did we? Let's look it up here real quick. Steve Blake. Gravis Vasquez. Where's he from? Is he from Maryland?
I doubt it.
I doubt it. No, actually, Steve Blake is from Florida. Went to high school in Florida and just went to college at Maryland. So not a Maryland guy per se, but look, if he's kind of putting his name out there, he wants it.
I give me one of them hats with a turtle on it.
Gravis Vasquez, Steve Blake post on Maryland college basketball head coaching opening after Willard exit. I'm telling you, they're both kind of lobbying for theirself. I don't know. I haven't seen any other names thrown around.
How old is Vasquez?
I would venture to guess.
He's got to be young, right?
Yeah, I mean,
he's in his
30s.
Mid-30s.
Probably mid-30s.
Steve Blake's probably my age.
I would venture to say that Maryland's going to try to find a seasoned, big-time coach. But you never know.
I would love it. I've said it 7 times already. But Steve Blake to the Maryland Terrapins would be awesome.
Vasquez is 38. And Vasquez is from, he's born in Venezuela.
Right.
But he actually went to high school in Maryland. He went to Montrose Christian in Maryland and then went to Maryland for 4 years. Let's see. He is currently a coach, most recently working as an associate head coach for the Erie Bay Hawks of the G League. That's Vasquez. So he is an assistant head coach right now in the G League. Steve Blake, he is, let's see, where's he coaching at right now? It says he's coaching, but it doesn't say where. It says 2008 to present. So he's at the Suns? No, that was until 2020. Somebody go on Wikipedia and update Steve Blake for me, because that's what I just clicked on, and they ain't got it. They only got Steve Blake updated to 2020.
He's just hanging up there in Amsterdam up there with
in Amsterdam. Shout out to The Wire, greatest show of all time. Don't care what anybody says.
It's fantastic.
So, yeah,
I can't find nothing on him either. He has deleted himself from the internet.
I cannot find out.
We mentioned one fight he's been in, and he deletes himself from the internet.
He's gone. Everything I'm seeing, just takes him up to 2020. So, Steve Blake, wherever he's at, he's either coaching or maybe he's hooping again. Maybe he's out on the streets hooping. Who knows?
Get him on the pod.
He might be in a gang right now. I'm telling you, dude. He is no punk. So, I like both of them. I don't know how good of coaches they are, but let's
It'd be
see
fun.
it. Yeah.
I mean, I think both are exciting hires.
All right, let's get on to these games full of action. We're going to save the Kentucky stuff for a little bit. So, Sweet 16 games. Before we even get into the games on Thursday, my first thought about Thursday was a bunch of huge performances that night. I got them written down right here. Sears, 34 points. Queen for Maryland, 27. Caleb Love, 35. Flagg that night had 30. John L. Davis, 30. And then even your boy from BYU had 25. And that was all on Thursday night. So big performances, individual performances on Thursday night by a lot of guys. First game of the night on Thursday was Alabama and BYU, 113 to 88. Alabama had 99 points with 7 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, and Jim Jackson mentioned it on the show or on the call in the game that it was 99 to 79, I think, with 7 minutes to go. And Jim Jackson was like, imagine being BYU. You have 79 points, 7 minutes to go, and you're down 20.
You're down 20. Unbelievable. Sears, well, let's just say Alabama was 25 for 51 from the three-point line. They made 25 threes. And did I hear that was
that's the new record? Yes, that is
for
the
a
new
single
record.
game in any tournament game?
Yeah, in the NCAA tournament.
I thought that's what I saw.
I mean, they were pulling from everywhere. They were all in range as soon as they came across half court.
25 threes, and they shot 51, almost shot 50% from the three-point line. Sears was 10 for 16 by himself from the three-point line, 34 points. He also had 8 assists, 3 rebounds, and 3 steals. Huge game for Alabama. BYU, like you said, it kind of sucks. They put up a lot of points.
They just couldn't keep up. And every time, I mean, this is with every game this weekend, on the blowouts especially, every time a team would cut it within 9, they'd get a steal, a turnover, and it would turn into another 3 for Alabama. Back down 12, back down 13. BYU could never get over the hump, and they played great. When the team shoots 51 threes and they hit 25 of them, I mean, it's tough to beat anybody.
Earlier in the week, Charlie, my son, he said the Alabama and BYU game, they might score 250 points. And I said, 250? I said, that ain't going to happen. Maybe 170, 180. This is going to be a high-scoring game. He might have been closer than I was. What'd they get? 113 to 88. So what? 201. They got to 201. I might have been a little bit closer, but let's just say when it was 99 to 79, I was thinking he might be right. They might score 250 points. So shout out to Charlie for seeing that was going to be a high scoring game. I think the over, I do want to say it was about 175.
Yeah, I think it's 174 and a half.
Something like that.
I think that's what it was.
Pretty damn high, and they went well over that. Alabama advances over BYU in that first game.
Yeah, shout out to the guy I know that had the under on that.
Who's that?
I think it was Travis. I could be wrong, but someone in a text group I was in had the under.
See, I would not. I'm probably not. I don't care what trends I'm seeing, what numbers I'm seeing. Probably not taking the under in an Alabama game.
No.
Maybe it hits, but I'd like to see what their record was on the over-under this year. Second game of the night, Florida and Maryland,
yes.
right?
They were on at the same time, 17,
they were at the same time, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Florida beats Maryland, ends the Terps run, 87-71, kind of had control of that game. Florida didn't even have anybody that had huge numbers. They did have 6 guys that were in double digits. And I mentioned that Queen played good. He had 27 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. But I don't know if you listened to the last couple episodes, but I pointed out to Anthony, Maryland's bench would be their kryptonite. It was.
I think I text you. Did they finish with 0?
They got 36 minutes off of their bench, 3 points, 1 rebound, 2 steals, and a block.
And that was all in garbage time. The points were.
I think you're right, because you texted me late in the game and said they had 0. They ended up with 3. 3 points, 1 rebound, 2 steals, and a block in 36 minutes.
It's hard to do.
Let me tell you why that's fresh in your mind, what Florida's bench did. Their bench played 65 minutes. They played almost double what Maryland's bench played. Florida's bench got 29 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block.
You're playing 5 on 10.
We actually looked at Florida's box score in their last game, and their bench didn't put up much points. So I was thinking maybe there's more teams than just Maryland that aren't getting a lot of production from their bench. Florida didn't get this same production from their bench last game, but that's the difference in the game. When you look and you see that their bench put up 30 points and 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block, like you said, you're playing 5 on 10. That was the difference in that game.
And you could tell towards the end of the game that the Terps were just out of gas. Florida never pulled away. It was just kind of comfortable for them the whole time.
It was.
Clayton didn't have to do his magic show that he does at the late games. It was just easy for them. They cruised, and you just tell the Terps just ran out of gas.
Yeah, they did. It's hard for 5 guys, man. I know that a lot of these, and Cal used to do it, and there's a lot of these coaches that kind of zero in on 7 guys, but your 6th and your 7th better put up some numbers. You can't just have 5 that are putting up numbers and then get 3 points off your bench. If you get only 3 points, you better get some rebounds, assists, or something. But yeah, Maryland, where do they go from here? Steve Blake. I'm sure Queen's going to be gone. He's projected, I think, a top 10 pick.
Yeah, I think I seen him at 7. I looked him up the other day. They had him going 6 or 7.
I haven't looked at any mock drafts, but I've heard in the past couple of weeks that he's still somewhere in that top 10, I think. So I'm sure he'll be gone, as he should. Good kid, good player. I hope he excels in the NBA, but I don't know about his body style.
Nah,
in the NBA.
I don't think so either.
Unless he can develop a really good 3-point shot, which I don't think he's anywhere near that, even though he did knock down some big threes in the tournament. I don't know that he's a stretch the floor type of guy. He's just an old school. He's like a Lonnie Baxter or something.
A little undersized. He can play the college game like this, but when you step up to the pros and everybody's got the length and the height, it really catches up to you.
So good luck to Derek Queen and good luck to Maryland. Hopefully they bring in somebody that can keep them at this level. It was fun watching Maryland this year. I've always been Maryland's kind of been my second team. I lived half my life in Maryland. So I kind of adopted them as my second team. And it was sad to watch the downfall and just them in the cellar for the last, 10 to 15 years since really after Gary Williams. So
yeah, and you ain't had a player really since Vasquez that a superstar type guy that you could really enjoy watching.
Yeah.
He was probably the last one, in my opinion, because you'd always be the one to text me about watch this guy from Maryland. And until Queen, the last guy I remember you texted me about was Vasquez.
You're probably right. It's been a long time, and it was just fun watching Maryland be good again this year, make that run that they did. So hopefully they stay on the right track with whoever they bring in. So that was the 2 early games. The next game, I guess it was 2 of them at 9 o'clock. Duke over Arizona. This was the Cooper Flagg show.
Yes, it was. And that was another game I felt like it reminded me of that Maryland-Florida game a little bit, where they were up 10, 12, 14 the whole game.
Well, Arizona cut it to 5 with just about 2 minutes left, but Duke made 9 of their last 10 shots, and then Cooper Flagg hit some big free throws down the stretch.
It was a Caleb Love show.
Yeah, Caleb Love. He put up 35, had a great game, and Cooper Flagg he had 30 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks. He was just. Dude, Cooper Flagg is legit.
He is.
He is.
I wanted to doubt him like halfway through the season. I thought maybe the season would wear on him and he'd run out of gas, but he's only gotten better.
Dude, he has. I wanted to say that I even said it a couple weeks ago that Edgecombe kid might have been the best player in the country, and I do think that kid's really good and he'll be good in the NBA. He ain't no Cooper Flagg.
No, different. Different.
Yeah, he ain't no Cooper. The one thing I've not liked. Basically, I don't like any Duke players ever. There's a couple. There may be 1 or 2. I do like Cooper Flagg. The best thing I think about him is he's not selfish. He's the best player in the country. He's been the highest touted player for 2-3 years. He's a good kid too. Very unselfish on the court. Maybe even a little bit too unselfish, but I like the way he plays. He passes well. He sees the court. feeds his teammates. I think he makes everybody better. He definitely makes that big boy they got better because, good Lord, that dude's wide open for a dunk every time. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but a big part of the reason that dude gets the opportunities he gets is because of Cooper Flagg.
They're focused on him, middle wide open. Throw it up, he goes and gets it.
So Duke advances 100-93 over Arizona. And then the last game of the night, Arkansas. This is probably the one thing that Anthony's happy that he is missing this show about, not having to talk about this. Arkansas loses 85-83 after leading 61-45 with about 10 minutes left. They were up 16. Josh, I'm gonna get your opinion on it here in a second, but to me, I don't want to say this is like what Cal does because Cal did a lot of winning and did a lot of good things, but taking the air out of the ball a little bit too early. Look, there is times to take the air out of the ball. 2-3 minutes left in the game, up 8, up 10, up 12. Take the air out of the ball. Absolutely. You don't take the air out of the ball and stop running your offense and trying to score with 7-8 minutes left.
And that's not what Arkansas was anyway.
It's not. They excelled later in the season and in the tournaments with their athleticism.
Yes.
With all these athletes that they have, just making plays and being athletic. We heard about it. Everybody I heard talk about Arkansas in the last 3 weeks since the tournament started is how many athletes they got, how athletic they are, how big they are. It's been about the athletes. Let them make the plays. I'm not going to sit here and criticize and say this is all about Cal because I do think Cal had a big part in it, but the players got to play too. But I just saw similarities, taking the air out of the ball. The one thing everybody's talking about is not calling the timeout. I'm going to sit here and tell you, and I might have already told you, I don't even know if that's the wrong decision. I really don't. And it's not only because Cal is known to not make that timeout call. He's known I'd say 75% of the time that is about to happen, he lets it go, right?
You're right, 100%.
But it's not even about that. I think about it as if I was on the sideline and that was about to happen and I'm the coach, it might be better off to let him go. You call the timeout, yes, you get to set something up, but guess what? So does the defense. And I heard Cal say this, and it's not because Cal said it, but this is the truth. Once you do that, you don't just have to worry about running your play. You got to inbound the ball. You got to get the ball back in bounds before you can even start your play. So,
I mean, what do you
it's
think?
Easy to criticize not taking the timeout, especially from Kentucky fans who have seen this in the past from Cal, and I know the majority of them don't like it. I've never been one to criticize that timeout, and I'm not going to criticize this one because DJ Wagner was playing good, especially late in that game, taking it to the rack. He had the ball in his hands. Your other boy had 30 points. Maybe you just let it go. If they score right there and the game was tied.
It was
right?
tied.
The game was tied. If they score and win,
Well, they were
down
two. They were down two.
Were they? Oh, that was in overtime.
Yes.
That was in
Yes.
overtime. So if they score and tie the game, or if they hit a three and they win the game, nobody's saying anything about the timeout. The timeout, it was the right decision. The reason people are talking about it is because they didn't score. So I'm not even going to criticize the timeout, but taking the air out of the ball, I don't like that, and I have seen that from Cal in the past. Yes, the players got to play, but does the coach tell them to slow down? I don't know. It seems like a pattern, and I don't like that. But Arkansas blows the lead. They were up 16 and get beat 85-83. What do you think, Josh, about the criticism that specifically Cal's getting, and what do you think about taking the air out of the ball and the timeout there?
I agree with you. Sorry you can't yell at me like you do Anthony. But what I thought, you think of this, because we agree on all of that. He took the air out of the ball. They end up taking long jumpers when that stuff happens. You know, when you're winding down the clock, you just end up taking bad shots. And I thought they took a lot of bad shots that let Texas Tech get back in the game. Don't take no credit away from Texas Tech. Toppin was a beast.
He was a beast.
And that's a really good, tough team. But what about, I didn't talk to you about this, but when Texas Tech went ahead by 2, they throw it into Wagner. He's got 7.5 seconds to go. Why not call the timeout there at half court? 4 or 5
That's
seconds
probably
instead of
what they would have did.
right.
If they were going to call the timeout, they would have got it to half court for sure.
Okay.
But you still got to inbound the ball.
Right.
Still got to, and you know they're going to be pressuring the shit out of you.
But then that gives you more options to set up for a shot for Davis, Fland, Brazil in the middle.
So you calling a timeout?
I'm calling a timeout.
You calling a timeout
not every time. I mean,
it's kind of a
I don't
field
think
thing.
I don't think Wagner's the guy in that situation.
Well, John L. Davis had 30 points.
And he didn't didn't get the shot.
That was the other criticism is why don't you get your guy that has 30 points that is the hottest player in that game? Why does he not get a touch? Which I can understand. But I did see positive things really all tournament from DJ Wagner, and specifically late in that game. I thought he was taking it to the rack pretty well. Maybe he's not the guy, but he's Cal's guy.
I know Cal. I always thought Cal was too loyal to DJ Wagner, and I liked DJ Wagner, and I've always rooted for him because he's been in the Kentucky circle for so long. Since he was in the 8th grade, we knew DJ Wagner was coming to Kentucky.
And I've always said I think that's part of the reason, maybe the pressure on him, and maybe the way we look at him when he was at Kentucky. If he wasn't so highly touted, maybe we would have gave him a little bit of a break. You see what I'm saying?
Sometimes you
I'm with you. I do think he underperformed at Kentucky, but I'm not one of these people that are like, I hate DJ Wagner.
Not at all. Not at all.
I just think he was hyped up too much coming into college, and maybe he didn't even underperform as much as we really think he did. Maybe our expectations.
He was under the microscope big time because of the expectations that were put on him. That's not his fault.
And then maybe he knew those expectations, and maybe that put some pressure on him. So maybe that was also a reason that he did underperform. But I think he's got better. It's probably good for him to stay with Cal, to be honest. Cal's his guy, and he's Cal's guy. So I don't so much criticize him having the ball because I thought he was taking it to the rack well. He did kind of try to get to the rack. It was good. It was good defense. But, dude, you got to almost fight to do whatever you can to get to the rack because the shot that he took was it's probably the least percentage shot that you want to take.
And you don't even have a chance for an offensive rebound. I know you don't have a lot of time left in that situation, but, I mean, I've always been my beef with DJ Wagner is he doesn't shoot the ball well enough for you to have to guard him, and he's not always fast enough to get around you. So what is he?
Yeah, that's a good analysis, honestly.
I mean, he don't shoot the ball well.
He does get to the rack pretty good, but he's not like a quick guard. He's by any means. That's a good point, but
I mean, I'm rooting for him. I hope he keeps playing basketball. I don't think he's an NBA guy. He could be a role player, but he's got a long way to go. But I'll always root for DJ Wagner and those guys that play for Calipari.
So speaking of that, Big Z hit the transfer portal today.
He did.
I don't know what's going to happen with that. Some Kentucky fans are yelling to bring him back. I'll be honest. If he comes back, cool. I don't know. Maybe he might be a type of guy that Pope might like.
Is he tough enough?
My initial thought was nah, but
I mean, Amari Williams abused him.
He's definitely not tough. He's not a big man.
He's a 7 foot, 2.5 guard.
Yeah, he is 2.5 guard. I like it. I mean, he's got to play like the 3. He's not even a 4 or 5. He gets manhandled down there. He's a terrible big man.
And he's not a great passer either, really. Well, he threw that around the back one in his debut.
Yeah, one. He should have played that one half and then just not played anymore and just went to the NBA.
Top 5 pick.
He'd have been a top 5, top 10 pick just off of that one half of basketball that he played. His very first half he played at Kentucky. He straight up went off, was banging threes from all over the court, throwing behind the back passes. We thought this guy was the next coming of.
That's one of them sports moments you'll never forget where you were at. Shout out Jody's living room.
And then he never, I don't want to say he never had a good game again, but he didn't really.
No.
He really
I mean,
didn't,
and even when he came back home this year, Amari Williams just abused him. He couldn't even play in that game. And he was always in foul trouble.
There was a game in the tournament, too. I can't remember which one it was. He played a little bit in the first half. Second half, didn't even play.
Nope.
So I think Cal knows that I think you said it best. He's just not physical enough. But maybe, just maybe, Mark Pope might have a spot for a guy like that. He's a shooter. Have you heard anything about DJ Wagner? Is he staying?
I haven't heard nothing yet about him. But he's going to be recruited over for sure. I mean, Cal's got some studs coming back or coming in. I mean, Fland's going to be gone. Davis will be gone. And I think Cal's got 3 other guards that are coming in. You know how Cal systems works. Calipari system works.
Sit him.
Those guys are
They
going to
come in
play.
ready to play.
And so he may say, hey, DJ, you might need to find somewhere else to go. What if he ended up in Louisville? Where Grandpa was.
Louisville fans would love that. And they were some of the main ones dogging him when he was at Kentucky, and they would absolutely love it. While we're talking about transfers, Bryce Hopkins is transferring, and I heard some maybe rumblings about him venturing back into the Bluegrass State. I don't think that'll happen.
I heard it's more likely he'd go to Arkansas before he went to Kentucky.
Really?
Yes.
I could see that.
I would take Bryce Hopkins. He's big body. I liked him.
I liked him when he was at Kentucky. I thought he was going to be a solid player for us in the.
But didn't we always play him at the 3? And I always thought he was a 4.
He is a 4. He's
in
very
college. I mean,
undersized 4. He's one of them guys he's a college basketball player. Yeah, he's more of a 4. But I think you're right. I think we did kind of try to.
Because we always seemed so big when he was in, and he's out there playing on the wing. But he was a shooter. He had some good games.
I can't even remember which team that was. Was that the team that lost to Kansas State, or was that St. Peter's?
No, he wasn't on that team. He might have been on the St. Because did he play 2 years or 1?
I think just 1 with us, right?
So he had to be on the Kansas State team. He wasn't on that
Kansas State. So who knows? Maybe we see some former Kentucky guys come back to Kentucky. Who knows?
Coming full circle.
I do know that Mark Pope got somebody a couple of days ago. I don't keep up with this recruiting anymore. Recruiting's just too much for me to try to keep up with. But we did sign somebody. You know who it was?
It was Cam Williams. Was that his name?
I think it was a Cam something. Yeah. So Mark Pope's already on the trail.
He's kind of like a Terrence Jones type player. That's what I would kind of describe his game at. Probably not as good. I mean, he was
T. Jones. Didn't he put out a rap song?
He had a little jingle that he did.
Was it a Kentucky rap? Was he the one that did the Kentucky? Was it
Teach Me About Kentucky?
Teach Me About Kentucky. Go look that up.
I don't think you should.
All right. So
as a producer, I know music.
So that was it on Thursday. Texas Tech, Duke, Florida, and Alabama advance on Thursday. Friday. Oh, man. Friday.
We're going to start with our boys.
I spent some money, and I went up to Indianapolis. Last second. I thought about it all week. Just ended up going. Took my wife and both of my sons, my 2 oldest sons, and it was rough. I've been a lot madder, a lot more sad after Kentucky losses in the tournament. This one was more bummed because they just could not make it a game.
It just seemed like they just had the speed, the energy. Kentucky never seemed like they were in it.
Got down double digits.
Was it 13-4 to start off, something like that?
5-6 minutes into the game, we're down double digits already, and we really just never could get over that hump. Try to get it to 6 or 7, and we would get it to 10. We would get it, I think we got it to 9 maybe once, maybe twice, and then something always happened. I'm sure you know this. When you're at a game, it's a lot harder to really dissect everything that's going on. My main takeaway watching it live while it was happening, they were getting too many offensive rebounds.
Of course, and that's kind of been
killing us.
And that's been Kentucky's problem a lot. Any big game that we lost, that was the problem in the game. Is we gave up too many offensive rebounds.
Yeah, that was the main thing that stuck out to me. I kept saying it while it was happening to my wife, to my kids. They're getting too many second chance points. They're getting too many offensive rebounds. I did look up the number, 17-7. I would have guessed it was more than that. But still, you can't get.
But they probably had 11 or 12 of those in the first half.
Yeah, and I didn't look up how many points they got off of those second chance points, but I'm sure it was quite a few.
And they're a good defensive team. They're long. They're all athletes.
They really pressured the perimeter. We've seen that the last couple weeks by both the teams that we played in the tournament. Illinois pressured the shit out of us on the perimeter, and Troy was a really good defensive team that was pressuring our guards. We've played Tennessee twice. They've done this to us, and we've been successful. Just didn't work this time. Another thing that I noticed live, Brea hits his first shot of the game, drains a 3 early in the game. He only shot 4 threes.
That was the only shot he made the whole game?
Yeah, he was 1 for 4, and that was the only shot he made?
I believe so.
Anybody that's a Kentucky fan knows it. We are more successful when Brea is shooting 6 to 8 threes a game, and he needs to shoot about 15 shots a game.
Yeah, I say 13 to 15 shots. He shot 7 for the whole game. He shot 4 threes.
That's not enough.
We only shot 15 threes as a team.
And that was another thing that I got right here. UK only shot 15 threes. We got to shoot 30. We've talked, I think Mark Pope even talked about it earlier in the year, that kind of 30 was his number that he was kind of shooting for. No secret about it. This team wants to shoot 33s a game. We shot 15. It's not enough. Our best shooter only shot 4. It's not enough. I'm not blaming it on Brea by any means. Another thing that I didn't notice live, but looking in the box score, you want to hear what our bench did? 54 minutes, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists.
And then with Carr going 0 for 3 from 3.
6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists in 54 bench minutes. We turned into the crappy 5.
We were the crappy 5.
We were the crappy 5. That's not enough, especially against a really good defensive team like Tennessee. Sad end to the season. Like I said, I've been a lot madder. I've been to a lot of these tournaments. I always go to tournament games, Josh. Like, I didn't even go to a Kentucky game this year, but I love going to tournament games. I've been to a lot of them, and I've been to some devastating ones. I was at the Wisconsin loss, so you can imagine what I felt like walking out of that place. This was nothing like that. Still a really good, successful season from Mark Pope. Things are on the rise for Kentucky basketball. Man, I wish I could have just got to cheer a little more.
Right.
I didn't barely get to cheer.
It was, and that's what sucked. I mean, you wait. You know, we had to play the Friday game at 7, so we didn't have to wait till the 9:30, 10 o'clock game, but we had to wait all through Thursday, watch 4 games on Thursday, get to Friday at 7. You're excited. Get you a couple drinks, hanging with your boys, your ladies. We're all gathering around a TV. We're watching, ready to cheer on the Cats, and we just come out dead. I thought this is how it would end, honestly, with Kentucky, that our talent would just finally just catch up to us. I thought we overachieved all year. We were just an athlete and a half away. If Oway was just a little bit more of an athlete, if Williams was a little bit more aggressive, maybe put his hands up on defense once, maybe we could get some stops. But I just feel like
you can go in on. I know you. You can go in. This is your time, Josh. This is your time. You can go in on.
I'm going in on him right now. Amari Williams is my least favorite productive Kentucky player of all time.
I like that you added productive, because you told me the other day that he was your least favorite ever. And I ain't going to dog you for it, because you know one of my least favorites is a guy that you really like. But he is just too productive, but super frustrating. Go ahead. You can finish.
On penetration to the basket, he ends up underneath the goal. Like, he's underneath the rim, and the guy's laying it up, and he, like, sticks his face out the guy and not put – when was the last time he threw one in the stands? He's 7 foot tall. Did he throw any into the stands all year?
I actually told Anthony, I think it was in the SEC tournament, watch Williams and watch how he has a habit of – not all the time, but when he contests a shot, he doesn't put his hands up. And then you mentioned it the other night, and you're right, man. It's like he head fakes the offense. I'm going to put my hands up, but I'm not going to put my hands up. And I've seen him make guys change their shot with that move. But, dude, you can't do it all the time. You're 7 foot?
Yeah, he's 7 foot tall.
Put your hands up, man. But he is a really good defender, and he was probably, what do you think? Our most important player this year?
He was. He was
our most important. And Butler was very important,
Those
too.
were our 2 most important players. Them 2 guys right there.
Yeah, if something would have happened to Amari halfway through the year, dude, we would have been in big trouble.
He was just so frustrating to watch, because you could just see he could be so much better. And I felt like sometimes he was a little too unselfish. You know,
I agree.
He's dishing the ball, take it to the rack, get fouled, and one. But a lot of times he wants to stand at the free throw line, throw it around the back, over his head pass, thinking he's freaking Jokic.
He is such a good passer, though. One of the best passing big men in college that I can remember in like 5 to 10 years. I would love for somebody to point out some big men that pass the ball like he does over the last 10 years in all of college basketball.
He saw the floor so well. He saw the half court so well.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing some guys, but this dude can dish it. It was almost like that's all he wanted to do. And that was my biggest frustration. Not so much that he passed the ball, but when he got that ball at the free throw line, sometimes like one step inside the free throw line, and his guy was 3 to 5 feet away from him, and he's at the free throw line, 2 dribbles and dunk on his head. What are we doing?
He did that one dunk. Was it Troy or Illinois that when he drove through the lane and just smashed on that dude?
Coast to coast?
Yeah.
He did it 2 games in a
Right.
row.
And then
It's like he just wakes up all of a sudden and goes full bore, dunks on somebody's head. But then when he gets the ball at the free throw line and faces up, I just think he looked to pass a little bit too much. But it was a weird thing for me because at the same time when I'm saying don't pass so much, I know that he's a really good passer.
We're sitting here talking in circles because we hate him.
I know.
But we're talking about all the good stuff that he does. I still hate him. I'm going to go ahead and emphasize that.
I don't. I don't.
He was just frustrating for me. You could see if he just flipped a switch, did something. Not saying we could have beat Tennessee. I think our talent ran out. And when you get to those final 16 teams, that's the best of the best. And you got to hit shots. You got to play perfect games in order to beat those top teams. I mean, that's Tennessee, a 2 seed. I mean, there's a reason they're a 2 seed. We beat them twice, but when it comes to crunch time, Tennessee just was able to kick our ass.
Yeah. We had a good time at the game, even though we lost. I'm glad I took my 2 sons with me because I think that, for me, it made it better. You know what I'm saying? It's an experience with my sons. I'm having fun with them. We moved around the stadium a little bit, got down pretty close, got over towards the tunnel on the way out. Of course, all the guys were bummed. Both of my boys got Lamont Butler's autograph. One of them on a hat, one of them on a jersey. So most of them were bummed out and walked past, didn't say much. Even Mark Pope, man, he kept his head down the whole time. He was kind of shaking his head, just looking at the ground. He's always engaging with the fans, staying after. We've heard it all year, how he stays after for hours, signing autographs, shaking hands. And you could just tell, man, it hurt him. But shout out to Lamont Butler for at least stopping and talking to the boys. That was cool.
Yeah, he'll be missed. I mean, him and Amari were probably the guys we needed, but we was just, the injuries finally catch up with you.
Yeah, let's not forget that we played without arguably our best player, Jackson Robinson.
Yeah, we thought he was going to be the leading scorer, and he probably would have been.
He probably would have been.
I mean, and all these guys on this team, I think, played above what their talent level was all year.
They did. So we're going to be losing Lamont Butler, Kobe Brea, Carr's gone, Williams is gone, Almanor's gone, and Robinson. That's 6 of them. Kerr Kriisa, if you're not a Kentucky fan, you probably don't even know who that is. He was our backup point guard, was probably going to be known more in college basketball for his shit talking because he talks a lot of shit. He's very animated, but supposedly a really good ball player. We didn't get to see enough of him. I can't tell you if he's really, to be honest, when he got hurt, I was kind of saying, is he really that good? I don't know, but he's going to the portal. I actually heard some rumblings, maybe from him, that he might be going back like overseas.
Yeah, he's from Eastern Europe.
Yeah, to start his pro career. So if I had to guess, that's probably what he'll do. Of course, Owe is the biggest story for us. We need Owe back.
We do.
If we can get Owe back, your boy Perry's back, the Kentucky boy.
I was going to be really excited to see him in an Eastern Kentucky uniform one day. I'm going to be really excited about that.
He's coming back. You know he's not giving up that spot.
No, I hope not. I mean, he needs to know his role. Another 2 years, get stronger.
Get stronger and be able to defend just a little bit. If he can get his defense up to just like a level of like a Noah.
Right. I mean,
he might not be able to, but if he could get on the court a little more.
And he wasn't even expected to play this year. If Kerr Kriisa doesn't get hurt, Perry's seeing garbage minutes, spot minutes, 1 minute here, 2 minutes there. We don't even know that he sucks on defense.
Let's forget about the defense. He hit like 2 million threes in high school. He is the all-time leader in scoring in the history of Kentucky high school basketball. Knocked down some open shots, bub.
He hit a lot at the beginning.
Oh, but towards the end,
No.
Not only was he missing, he's airballing, banking it off the backboard, not even hitting the rim. I'm not trying to dog on the kid, but I shouldn't even have brought up his defense. He's a shooter. Shoot and make some shots. I hope he comes back. He's a Kentucky boy. He's not going to give up that spot.
I don't want him to go anywhere. You know, just bide your time, couple years, be a hero.
So get Owe back. Perry's coming back.
Noah be back.
He's a Kentucky boy too. He'll be back. Garrison, I do think he progressed a lot late in the year. I've always said from the beginning, even though he didn't play good at the beginning of the year, I think Garrison's ceiling is really high.
Totally agree.
He's a freak athlete. If he can fine-tune his game a little bit, Garrison can be a big-time player. I think he could even be a draft pick someday. That's how good I think he can be. Will he? I don't know. But I hope we get him back. And Chandler.
Yes, that's
Chandler.
my man.
We need Chandler back. He's the one that was out for 2 years, right? He was on his mission trip for 2 years. Early in the year, struggled to see the court. I'm sure he was doing a lot of catching up. Not only was it on the mission, I think it was kind of a rule you can't even play basketball.
Yeah, you're not allowed to play full court.
Yeah, you can
I think you only play
like,
half court or something. It's kind of
like
goofy.
So, a couple years off of organized basketball.
He's probably just now in shape.
And he got a lot better late in the year. Made some big-time shots, got forced to play in some big-time games, was running point guard in the SEC tournament.
I think he's strong with the ball. He's a step up over Perry and Noah as a defender. He came in to play some good defense several games, and then as the season went on, he really did hit some big threes. He was coming across. He was shooting logo threes.
Feeling confident with his offense, and I don't know about you, I thought Chandler played awesome defense, especially in the second game of the tournament against Illinois.
Yes.
One-on-one perimeter defense. The kid was D'ing up. Yes, he got taken to the rack once or twice in that game, but Anthony made a good point. They was coming at him, and I thought he played excellent defense, something that he kind of struggled with earlier in the year. So
he's an athlete, too. He will dunk on you.
Another guy like Garrison that I think ceiling is super high. I think this kid could be an NBA player. I've heard people say Kentucky doesn't have any NBA players on this team. I disagree. Now, maybe from these kids that are leaving right here, you're probably right. Maybe Amari Williams gets a shot because he's Pistol Pete.
Magic Johnson.
The other guys, maybe Brea gets a shot because he can shoot. Yeah, you're probably right about those guys. But I think Garrison can definitely be in the NBA. And call me crazy, but I think Colin Chandler's ceiling is higher than anybody's on the team except Garrison. Owe's great, and I think Owe will be an NBA player too. I don't know why everybody is like he can't play in the – I think he will play in the NBA.
His defense has got to be good. He's got to shoot.
But he's such a physical guy. I think his defense could get better. I think – now the shooting thing –
he's got that weird Michael Kidd-Gilchrist
because he will have to run point guard in the NBA. But I like it. He's such an athlete. I think Owe be in the NBA, and I think Garrison and Chandler both have a shot. Look, if we can get Owe back – get Chandler and Garrison. Noah and Perry are what they are, but if we can get those three and start to build around them, especially Owe, they're going to have to pay him, but pay him, get him back. He's climbing my list, Josh, of favorite players.
Who?
Owe.
I liked him.
I might put him in my top.
I mean, those two Oklahoma games, the game-winning shots. I mean, those were fun.
Dude is just. I love the way
he's a dog.
I love the way he goes to the rack. Everybody wants to shoot threes, and I find myself yelling at the TV, go to the rack, go to the rack. I didn't have to yell it when Owe got the ball. He was going to the rack. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks with some – I know the transfer portal just opened. It's going to be crazy.
Days.
Hopefully Pope gets to work and gets some – I think the big main question on Pope is can he get a big-time recruit that's not, like a Kentucky guy. We'll see. Hopefully he can keep it going, but I think – the future is bright with Mark Pope. I don't know what you think, but I'm sure you're.
I'll give him an A for the season.
Absolutely.
If you're giving out grades,
you got to give an A. With all the big wins that he got and just making it out of that first weekend, I'm a Kentucky fan. I'm not going to sit here and say Sweet 16 is. I'm good with it, but this is different circumstances with a first-year head coach and the roster that we had. So I give it an A, absolutely. All right, Josh. I was at the game. So Michigan State and Mississippi were playing at the same time. They did have it up on the screen, but I didn't.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch it either because I was watching Kentucky, just crying, tears in my beers.
So Michigan State beats Ole Miss 73-70. It was a close game, but I'm gonna be honest, I ain't got nothing to say about it.
No, I don't either.
I didn't see it.
I didn't know. I would have paid more attention if I would have had more notice. I would have took some more notes on Michigan State, but I found out like 2 days ago I was going to be doing this.
So Michigan State beats Ole Miss. They advance to the Elite Eight for the who knows how many time with Tom Izzo. That's just like a given thing in March. Tom Izzo wins. So Michigan State marches on. And then in the late games, kind of the same deal, Josh. I was driving. We did not stay for the Houston game. Even though we lost, I probably would have stayed. My son had early baseball games on Saturday, so we headed out, did not stay for the Houston game. Kind of wish I would have because it ended up a really good game, but I didn't see much of it. I was driving, got home right at the last, I think I seen the last minute or two. Did you watch that whole game? Or I guess it was that one and then Auburn and Michigan playing at the same time.
Yeah, Auburn and Michigan. Auburn was kind of coasting the whole game. Nothing fun in that game. I just kind of had Houston and Purdue on in the background, and
Houston kind of had a
lead, and Purdue came back.
The game, yeah. Purdue tries to make a late push there, but pretty much the only thing that I saw or that I can really remember was that last play. What an inbound play, dude!
I text Winkle. I said, "Did you see that inbound play? It was unbelievable.
What an inbound!
play. Dude was just wide open.
It's like 2 screens, perfect to get the guy open. He gets open." And it was almost like the screening that they did drew everybody away from the block. And as soon as he inbounded the ball, all he did was just step right back in bounds. And the guy passed it right back to him for not a buzzer beater dunk, but damn near close.
Yeah. I mean, it was
under a second?
Yeah.
Under a second left. So great play. Kelvin Sampson. I mean,
they're going to beat you 62-60. That's what they do.
Yeah, Houston was one of my picks 3 or 4 weeks ago of the teams that I liked, but I said the whole time they just don't score a lot of points. So can they beat a team like Florida or Duke or Alabama or Auburn or something like that?
We're going to find out Saturday.
Yeah. I didn't even really mean to mention Duke in that. It was more like Florida, Alabama, Auburn, but after seeing Duke this weekend, they going to be able to keep up with them? I'm not sure. So
number 1 offense versus number 1 defense.
It sure is. So, yeah, Houston advances, and then Auburn advances over Michigan, 78-65, 13-point win. I don't think Michigan ever got it really close, did they?
Nah.
Elite Eight was set on Friday night. 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. First game of the Elite Eight, Florida against Texas Tech, and guess what? Texas Tech gets a taste of exactly what they fed to Arkansas. They were up 9 points late in the game. It was 75-66 with 3 minutes left in the game. Texas Tech looked like they had Florida on the ropes.
It was over.
It looked like it was about over.
I text Winkle, said it was over. He said, I got Florida plus 250.
I said,
live bet.
As soon as you were texting me, I was looking at the live bet. And Florida really wasn't even like making a run or playing good, but I just had some kind of weird feeling that Florida was going to win. I looked at it. It was plus 250. Clayton took over.
He did.
He hit 2 late threes, but the one where he dribbles into the paint, turns around, dribbles back out of the paint. Soon as he steps over the 3-point line, turns around, fades away. I ain't never seen nobody make that play.
I mean, at like the park or something.
At the park. In the paint, almost could have got like a 8 to 10 foot jumper. Like, nah. Turns like all the way around.
Yeah.
Like literally does a 180, runs
like a
back
curl
out to the top of the key. Soon as he stepped over the 3-point line, he picks his dribble up and turns around at the same time, fades away, hits. It was the craziest shot. And he just took over. And they come back from down 9 in 3 minutes.
And Texas Tech had chances to ice the game. They missed 2 front end of 1-and-1s.
Yes, they
2.
did. And those were huge.
And then, Florida capitalized.
Texas Tech gets kind of the same thing. They get to feel what Arkansas felt because it was almost the flip-flop of exactly what they did to Arkansas. Good season for Texas Tech, and like you said, that Toppin kid's a beast. I was wondering if he was related.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think someone – I mean, I've watched him play 3 times.
Nobody
I think
said
no
nothing.
one has said anything.
And I tried to look it up, and it was kind of just like the deal with Wikipedia just a minute ago. Wikipedia was like acting weird, not giving me information about Steve Blake for the last 3 years. Couldn't figure it out. It was like I couldn't find out if he wasn't. I almost think I even saw something that said he was, but it was fishy. Like, it might even have been Wikipedia, since anybody can change Wikipedia, but I don't think he's related to the other two Toppins. But he plays like them.
He does.
He's tall, he's athletic, and a good season for Texas Tech. So that was the first Final Four team. Florida, a 1 seed, advances after the scare. Second game of the night on Saturday, I come over and watch with you. I thought this was going to be the game of the weekend, and
it let us down.
It disappointed.
Let us down.
Big time. We already said Alabama hit 25 threes in their first game. In this game, Sears goes from 34 points to 6. He was 1 for 5 from the three-point line.
He only took 5. He took 16 in the game. He was scared to death. He was shook.
8 for 32 from the three-point line. Alabama goes from 25 for 51 in the previous game from the three-point line. That's not from the field. 25 for 51 from the three-point line. Next game, 8 for 32. And their top player goes from 34 points to 6 points.
Played 31 minutes.
Sears. We watched this together, and I know we talked about it while it was going on. Alabama's guards got abused the whole game on the defensive end. They could not guard anybody, but they kept getting matched up with Cooper Flagg.
Sears guarded Cooper Flagg more than anybody.
And he kept getting matched up with Cooper Flagg and Knipple. And I'm almost positive that when Sears was guarding those two guys, they were 100% from the field.
Every time.
They abused him every time. And it wasn't just him, but he was highlighted because we just kept noticing. I guess Alabama switches everything. You can't switch everything in that matchup because they were killing their guards. And the other guy, what was his name?
Malawach, I believe is how you say it.
No, the other guard for Alabama. Dylon, and Dylon. Okay? Dylon and Dylon. You know Dylon from MTV back in the day?
No, Comedy Central, Chappelle Show.
I think his name's Thylon.
Yes.
But he was Dylon the other night, okay?
Yeah, Phylon, PH.
Yeah.
PH.
I looked, okay, and for you Alabama fans and for you stat stuffers, okay, yes, he was Alabama's leading scorer the other night. I don't care. He is trash. He needs to go hang out with Dylon and maybe start rapping or something because he's terrible. And he needs a new barber.
Oh, he was whack.
His hair's all jacked up. So Dylon's weak, and Sears got abused. Alabama went from hitting everything to not hitting anything, and this was never a game.
It never was. I mean, they would get,
win.
And when they got in the middle of the paint, they just threw it up to Malawach, and he would just dunk on them.
So let's talk about that. That guy is, I want to say he's really, really good, but we kind of mentioned it. Does he do anything other than just dunk?
Not really.
I don't think he does either. I don't know if we've seen him take any other shot. I don't even know if I saw him take like a hook shot or a layup. It was all, I don't even think it was just dunking. It was all alley-oops.
He was 6 of 7 from the field.
And they were probably
four or five of them. 4 of them at least were oops.
That guy's opportunities are opened up big time by Cooper Flagg.
Of course.
You know these coaches are keying on Cooper Flagg, but that dude's probably going to be good in the NBA.
He's so big.
He's probably going to have to find another facet of his game like we've talked about with some other guys, shooting the ball or whatever. But he's huge, and he can jump out of the gym. He was dunking all over them.
It was bad. I mean, it reminded me like when Kentucky ran those plays for Anthony Davis.
They ran that motion almost every time down the court. Even if they didn't throw the lob, they were running that same motion even with other guys, and they were just killing them. I almost felt like if they really wanted to, they could have probably done that every damn time.
Yep.
They could have brought Flagg into the paint and really got them to collapse on him, and they could have probably threw that pass every single time. Duke is good. A lot better than I thought. Yes, I'm a Duke hater, but I'll be honest, they are a handful.
Their defense is sneaky good. You usually don't think about defense with Duke, but their perimeter defense,
They played really good.
It rattled those guards from Alabama who we thought were good. I'm not sure if they are. I mean, Duke got in their ass.
They did.
And they were so far away from the 3-point line. It's just great defense. And then you got the big Malawatch and Cooper Flagg.
It looked like kind of what we were dealing with Tennessee. And some of those matchups where they're just the pressure on the perimeter. I agree. Duke surprised me on the defensive end. I'm going to be cheering for Houston. I'd love to see Houston win this game, but Duke's a lot better than I thought. They score the ball well, better on defense than I thought, a whole lot better. We know Houston doesn't score a lot. I think Houston's in some trouble here. I hope Auburn or Florida can get it done against Duke because I don't think Houston can do it. I really don't.
If Houston's really going to – we'll talk about that when we get to that matchup. We'll talk about the Sunday games first.
Yeah, we'll jump on. We'll run through the two Sunday games real quick. I don't have a whole lot to say about either one of those.
Honestly, I don't either. Houston won 69-50, and that was basically like Tennessee versus Kentucky. At no point did you think Tennessee was going to have a shot in that game. I mean, Houston, I was impressed with Houston. They hit shots. That was the difference. Every time they needed a big shot, I mean, they hit. I mean, they were hitting threes, and then Tennessee they're going to. Tennessee
5 for 29 from the 3-point line. I didn't even watch a whole lot of this game for two reasons. One, I had an early day on Saturday after getting home late from the Kentucky game. We had baseball, and then another early day on Sunday. Once I got home, and I was laid down, I fell asleep, and I actually told my wife that the game didn't start till 6 o'clock.
I thought that too. It was like 2:45 and 5:09.
I fell asleep. I wake up, and my wife's like, I thought you told me the game didn't start until 6. She's got it on, and they're pretty much routing them. But I looked at the box score. Tennessee, 15 for 52 from the field. They shot 28%, and they were 5 for 29 from the 3-point line, 17%.
You're not beating anybody like that.
Good defensive team, Tennessee is, but when you shoot like that and you score 50 points, good luck.
I mean, Houston is super physical. We'll talk about that.
Points in the paint also was 30-14, so it looked like Houston dominated them down low in the paint too.
And where like Tennessee got those rebounds against us, Houston got those same rebounds against Tennessee.
Consolation prize for us Kentucky fans. Tennessee does not make it to a Final Four.
Again.
The streak continues. They've only made it to 0 Final Fours in their history. So they can talk shit all they want about they got us. They still have never made a Final Four. They've obviously never won a national championship. So,
have you seen the video of the guy where this guy has a tattoo of every Tennessee Final Four? It's got like the white foam, they wipe and they wipe it off, and it's just his arm.
That's great. That's great. I always like the video of the dude that maybe he was a Tennessee fan talking about Alabama fan.
You talking about the black dude? Talking about he's talking about.
He was a Tennessee fan.
No, he was an Alabama fan.
Talking about Tennessee.
They were playing them in football. He's like, I don't like that color orange.
That's a great video.
Puke orange or a pumpkin orange. He
goes off. That's a great video too. I always like when that pops up and I get to revisit that.
Usually when Alabama and Tennessee play, they play that.
So yeah, Tennessee bows out. We could have gave Houston a better game than that.
I think they're too physical.
And they probably would have been for us too.
Oh, that's what I think. I think if we was somehow made the miracle and beat Tennessee, I think Houston would have done what Tennessee did to us the same game. I mean, our guys just aren't physical. I mean, their guys are thick, man.
That's where I had Kentucky's run ending. I didn't have them getting past Houston. That's where I kind of had it ending anyways.
And then we finish up with the nightcap, or really the mid-afternoon cap, of Auburn, Michigan State. Did you watch that one?
A little bit, but it was not very entertaining. I didn't think it was a great game.
Johnny Broom,
it was the Johnny Broom show.
And then he got hurt, and then he comes back like he's Willis Reed.
He
hit a three with one elbow.
Yeah, he's all right.
It was an ugly fall. His mom was crying and everything else.
And really, it was the Johnny Broom show. Is that how you say his name? Broom?
Yeah.
Broom.
Joni. It's Joni, I believe.
Joni Broom. Joni Broom. 25 points, 14 rebounds. I think he fell on his elbow.
And his knee. He looked all kinds of. It was wild.
It did look rough, but the doctor said everything's good, nothing major. Comes back out. He had the elbow bandaged up, but knocks down a three, and he even grabbed a big rebound there. Snatched a big rebound.
He grabbed that rebound, and then the next play he kind of pointed to himself, and he hit that three on the wing, and after that it was pretty much just the adrenaline of the team, of him coming back, being
So
the hero.
he's fine. He's fine.
Yes.
So I know your wife had Johnny Broom in her little fantasy thing.
No,
He
she
got
has
off?
she had John L. Davis.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's actually-
I thought she had him.
No, she's got what's his name, Martha Day.
Oh, okay.
The guard.
I got you.
So she's actually in first place. One player
Is she?
left. Yeah, she's in first. My wife's in a little fantasy league with these guys at her work. Probably regretting inviting her. She's up 16 points with 2 games to go, but she's only got one player, and another guy's got he's got 2. He's got Cooper Flagg and Pettigrew from Auburn. So
That's
we're going to be
cool.
rooting for Duke to lose. So
Heck
maybe
yeah.
give her a shot at this $1,000.
A little different thing, as you told me about. It's kind of like a fantasy league where you draft. Would you say like 8 players?
8 players, and
Everybody
then-
drafts 8 players from all the teams. That started at the beginning of
At the beginning of the tournament.
beginning of the tournament.
And then
Okay.
after the first weekend, after that first Thursday to Sunday, for the Sweet 16, you're able to draft 2 more supplemental players if you lose some. Long draft, took 3 days, but there's 18 teams. It took 3 days for these people to draft. Because
Wow.
there's no app or anything. This guy does it all through email.
Old school email draft.
Yeah, you had 18 teams,
Good
and
Lord.
each got 8 players, and they went from 7:30 to 5:30 the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday before the Thursday games.
Oh, I bet you that was fun.
Yeah.
Heather's probably halfway through thinking, what in the hell did I get myself into?
Oh, she was at her 3rd pick, and it's Tuesday. And she's,
She's
like,
like,
I'm never doing this again. Now she's in first place.
And now she's like, I'm doing this every year. Well, hopefully she wins.
So
Hopefully
that'd
she
be
wins.
great.
All right, Auburn, Houston, Duke, Florida, all number
Hold on.
ones.
Okay. Yeah.
What you got?
Nothing. Keep going. We'll edit this.
Yep. All number ones for only the second time.
When was
Did
the
you know
first
that?
time? Do you know? Was it in the 80s, like the Big East
Nope.
or something?
Nope. It was 2008. It was the year that I want to say Tyler Hansborough. Does that sound right? 2008.
there.
Hold on. I had a picture of it here.
Kansas, Memphis, UCLA, and North Carolina. Was Memphis the number 1 seed? I guess. Yeah, because that was probably 2008. That was Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
That was probably it.
Yeah, you're right. It was Memphis, Kansas, North Carolina,
And UCLA.
and UCLA. 08, UCLA had Westbrook,
Yep.
Russell Westbrook, and maybe
Kevin
Kevin Love.
Was Kevin Love still
yeah,
there?
I think maybe Kevin Love. So yeah, only the second time that we've had 4 number ones, which I thought was kind of surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I would have almost expected that to happen like back in the day in the 80s.
Yeah,
or
that's what I was
something.
thinking. Like when the Big East was real good.
Look,
Wasn't
I
the
like
all,
it. I
wasn't the
like
all
it.
SEC like y'all predicted last week?
No, was not the all SEC. Matter of fact, we're only going to get one SEC team in the championship no matter what, because Duke and Houston are on the same side. So, but we are guaranteed one SEC team in the championship. The other ones let me down. We had Kentucky and
Tennessee.
no, we had Kentucky and
Alabama.
or
Y'all had Alabama. Y'all had
yeah,
Alabama.
We had Kentucky and Alabama. So my bracket went to shit as soon as Dylon started shitting the bed and Mark Sears fell asleep.
I'm still alive in mine.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm in first.
There you go.
Yeah, and $500 could come my way.
All right, who you got winning it all?
I got Florida versus Houston in the championship with Florida winning it all.
So
but
you really need Houston.
yeah, I had
Because I'm sure a lot of people got Florida.
Yeah, I got Florida, Auburn, and Houston, and I had who did I have? I had Alabama beating Duke. I had 3 of those 4 SECs.
Me too.
I just wanted Duke to get beat, and just hoping Duke would finally run into a close game. Alabama get hot, and Alabama got cold, and Duke is freaking good. They're a good basketball team,
They're better than what I thought.
and I like Shire. I want to hate him, but I kind of like him.
I don't mind him.
I think the kids like him. They play for him.
He's on the right track. I know he got the number one, he got Cooper Flagg, which is that helps a lot. But yeah, I don't disagree. I think Shire is a pretty good coach, and he's probably going to stick around for a while. He was under K there for a while, and he was like the coach in waiting, pretty much, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as long as he doesn't shit the bed for a few years straight, he'd have to have a really bad.
Oh,
2, 3,
yeah,
4
he'd have-
years
yeah, oh,
for
yeah.
them to push him out. Duke, of course, they've only had one coach in my lifetime, 2 now, but they're not. I don't think they're going to be quick to throw somebody out, especially a Duke guy. So Shire, as much as I hate to say it, he seems like he's doing pretty good there. While you're here, Josh, I'll go ahead and get your thoughts on the Final Four. What do you think here? Auburn and Florida. I think Florida showed some vulnerability, but that might have been good for them. I think it showed that they're resilient. They did not crumble under that pressure. Would have been very easy with 3 minutes left, down 9, to maybe give up, maybe start pointing fingers, but they stuck together. They won the game after being down 9. That might be something that propels them to winning it all.
I agree. A lot of times when a team is going through the tournament, they got that one game that they just pull out, the game they shouldn't have won. Clayton was a stud, and I think you need that superstar guard that makes those big shots. You remember Kemba Walker doing it?
And Shabazz Napier.
Yeah. So I think they got dudes. Have they played? What was their record against Auburn? They beat them in February, 90-81.
Is that what happened?
Yep, in February, 90-81.
They only played them once?
I'm looking.
Where was that game at?
That was, damn, I lost it.
It
was at Auburn. It was at Auburn.
Really?
Yeah, they only played them once.
This is going to be a good game. Man, I'd like to say they're the best two teams, but Duke is really good. I'm still going to lean towards these are the two best teams because of the schedule that they've played. Look, the ACC was bad, but Duke is on a different level. So maybe it doesn't affect them. I'm going to take Florida in that game, man. I'm going to take Florida to the championship.
I wanted to, be against you, but I can't. I 6 weeks ago, I thought Auburn was the best. I was putting them, they're winning it. Auburn is winning the SEC tournament, the national championship. They lose 3 of the 4 to close out the season. But they look like they've righted the ship. And now they're coming up against Florida, who 4 weeks ago, I was like, Florida is tough, and they're going to win it. I got to ride with Florida. That's who I'm cheering for. I like their coach. I like Clayton.
And you got them in your bracket.
And I got them in my bracket. I got money on the line. Blitz the bracket, baby.
There you go. Has Auburn even played a close game yet? They beat Michigan by 13.
I don't think so.
They beat Michigan State. I mean, that was by 6.
I mean, there was points in that game where they could have folded, but they haven't had anything down to the wire where they're hitting free throws and grinding it out or been down.
I like Bruce Pearl, but I'm going to stick with Florida here. I do think that's going to be a great game. I hope these two games are really good because it seemed like the Elite Eight games didn't live up to the billing. I hope these Final Four games are good. A lot of times, Josh, when Kentucky loses, I lose interest in the tournament. I don't know if that happens to you, but that has happened to me in the past where after Kentucky's lost, there's been times where I haven't watched the Final Four and the championship game.
I've always watched just because, going back to I was 10 years old watching college basketball. This is my favorite tournament, my favorite thing to do this time of year. Even if my team's not in it, I'm dragging Heather out to the bar and we're going somewhere. We're going to B-Dubs. We're going to Roosters, and we're gonna watch these two games. That's just what I do in March. March is usually an expensive month for me at the bars because I gotta go and watch, and that's what I do.
I'll be watching.
It's been a long time since I haven't watched. I'm gonna have to say never.
Really?
That I've not.
Man,
watched. And I get a lot of Kentucky fans or a lot of Louisville fans and everybody's like that. Right?
I have got really bummed after some. Like I bet you in 2019, I went to Memphis, and I was there when De'Aaron Fox and when Malik Monk hit that big shot, and then Drake May. Hit the
Is it
shot.
Drake or Luke?
No, it's Luke. But
yeah, right.
A couple weeks ago, we called him. We literally, me and Anthony sat here and called him every May. Drake May, Sean May. We was calling him every May. But I was at that game, and that was a devastating loss. And I don't remember for sure, but that might have been one of them years where I didn't watch much more of the tournament. And I can tell you, when we lost to Wisconsin in 2015, I watched maybe 5 minutes of that championship game. I could not bear to turn the TV on. I did, but I wanted to throw up. And I've had some of those, man. They're probably more of like your Elite Eight games. I feel like the Elite Eight games are the ones that really like stick that dagger in you.
Because you knew you had that one more weekend. It's time to party.
The John Wall year. That was the Elite Eight to go to the Final Four. devastating loss. 2015, devastating loss. 19 to me. Those three.
I'll never forget. I mean, I can remember where I was in all three of those. You know, my living room for John Wall, watching with shout out James Hoagland.
There you go.
And then in 2015, I was at my brother's wedding. We had like 4 TVs set up.
Really? During the game?
Yeah, we had 4
Holy
TVs set up during the reception.
Whose wedding?
Travis's.
Oh, okay.
He got married on Wisconsin.
I should have known that.
And he even called me a year before he got married, or 9 months. He goes, "Hey, I got a date, but the date is the same day as the Final Four, and Kentucky could be our undefeated year. What do I do?" I said, "Dude, it's your wedding. I'll be there no matter what, but there better be a fucking TV." He goes, "But what about people not showing up?" I said, "Dude, the people that care about you are the people that are going to be there.
Yeah.
If they're not there because of a basketball game, I respect it a little bit, but and I understand why.
Yeah.
But the people that love and care about you are going to be there. But I said you're going to have a TV.
Gotta have a TV.
And they did. And, you know, we watched. I could have cried there on a dance floor.
Man, that was probably a happy, sad wedding.
Yeah. I mean, it was going on during the reception. Like there was the DJ, like, you know, we're looking at us right now. If we're the DJ, there's a TV on both sides with the game on. Me and Josh Rice watching it. And Ben. Shout out Ben.
But DJ's blaring music too, though.
Yes,
right? So
yes.
y'all ain't listening to the game. You're
No,
just
we're
watching the game?
we're just watching it.
Man.
And then
I'm sure that turned into a wedding is like a really, really happy moment. Really, really good time at receptions. I mean, it's hard to go to a wedding and have a bad time.
it
Because
actually
that was a devastating loss. I don't know about you, but man, that was a hard
I mean,
thing to
actually, the
take.
wedding was my distraction. It actually helped.
Yeah, I get
I
it.
may have
and
not.
That's your brother.
And I
mean,
may have
get
not
it.
recovered if that was not at a wedding.
Yeah.
I may still be like in your state of
It
mind.
might have been good for you.
You're
It
you're
might-
100% correct.
It might have been good for
it
you.
helped with the
wish
healing
I
process.
wish he would have invited me to the wedding.
There was free beer.
Why was I not
know.
invited to Travis Onan's
You
wedding?
probably were, but you went to fucking Memphis.
No, hell no. No, that was Indy. That was the Final
Oh,
Four.
yeah,
in
that was Indy, yeah.
The Memphis game was
Okay.
in 2019.
Yeah.
No, I did not get an invite to the Onan wedding because I would have definitely been there. Maybe.
And you've been sad. I mean, you
I
crying there
maybe
in a
might have
fetal
been there.
position. But and
I've
then
only been to one Onan wet party. I mean, yeah, it was a party, wasn't it?
Yes, you weren't at my wedding.
What year did you get married?
2010.
I had just moved back. Did
Okay.
I not?
Did you not go to 4th Street with us and party with like Lytle and Willie?
Where was your wedding at?
There were downtown.
church?
It was at a church in the
Maybe
Highlands.
maybe I was at your wedding.
And then did Casey just have Charlie? Well, no, Charlie's the same age as Caroline.
Yeah, no.
So,
we moved back in 2008, so that would have been 2 years after we moved back.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't get an invite to yours or Travis's wedding. I do remember I went to 2 or 3 when I first moved back. Maybe I did go to yours. I think I went to Brian Lytle's, like way out and somewhere at some.
Yeah, I was
house
with
or
you a
something.
lot. Yeah, I was at that house over in.
Maybe they're just running together.
I'll have to ask Heather. I thought you were at 4th Street Live when Chad got that VIP area and stuff, but maybe you didn't go.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I was referring to Chad's
Party.
wedding / party.
Yeah. Good time.
Most weddings are parties, but this one, come to find out, was just a party.
Yeah. New Year's Eve. Shout out. And then in
Won't go
20
into details, but it was just a party.
and then in 2019, I watched it at Hooters when Drake, Luke, May, Sean May.
That one hurt me,
When
man.
Sean May hit the shot because Malik Monk hits the shot. I mean,
Crazy
I
shot.
stand up. I was just like that viral video of all the Kentucky fans standing up like this,
And
and
then-
then they hit the shot, and we completely lose it.
That was maybe the most roller coaster of emotions I've ever went through in like a 2-minute span, because we were down 7 with like 50 seconds left in that game. Was almost sure the game was over. Pretty down at that point. And then we come back, and then Monk
hit
makes
that
a
three at the top of the
crazy
key.
3 to tie it up. And like you said, it was not long. It was like
There was no timeout. There was no nothing.
timeout. Hey, don't call a timeout. You know what I'm saying?
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, he didn't call a timeout. He came down and banged a buzzer beater to beat us in a very, very short time. Just down, back up, and then back down, just like that. And that one, and I guess that's why it hurt so bad, is that I kind of conceded that the game was over with a minute or two left because we were down 7 or 9. And I know we were down 7 under a minute left. And things flipped, but my emotions were
That was one of my favorite teams.
And it was a long ride back, just depressed. And yeah, after I left that Wisconsin game, I had tickets. I bought tickets to the Final Four and the championship game. And I wasn't going back to that shit. I could barely watch it on TV, much less was I driving my ass back up to Indy to watch that shit. Man, I walked out and sold 2 championship tickets for, I swear, like $150 total. Mm-hmm. So pissed. And then Wisconsin goes and lets Duke beat them. Wisconsin was the second best team in the country that year, and let's Duke beat them and win a title.
Their whole season was evolved around beating us.
It was.
That was their
championship, right?
It was. They had their picture. They had that UK team's picture hanging in their freaking locker.
And they were a really good team. It just sucks that we had such a good team, and there was another team that they weren't as good as us, but they were easily the second best team in the country.
We didn't have nobody to guard Sam Decker. When Poitras got hurt, he would have guarded Decker in that game. I think it would have been different.
So
we could talk about that game in another podcast. But back to the Final Four. So we
both got Florida, right?
Yep.
Man, I already told you. I think I already said my pick. I'd love to take Houston. I'm going to be cheering for Houston. I hope Houston beats the dog shit out of Duke. I don't see Houston being able to keep up offensively. Now, will they challenge Duke defensively? Yes. But I just don't think they can keep up. Duke's going to score too many points. I don't think you're going to hold Duke to 50 or 55. And that's the way Houston likes to play. They want to win 60 to 55, 65 to 62. I don't think they can do it with this Duke team. I'm going to take Duke, even though I hate saying it. Duke's going to play in another championship game.
I'm going to go against the grain and go against you. I'm going to go Houston. I think they got a guy. I think you kind of let Cooper do his thing, let him get his 30. And if you can focus on Knipple, I think they got a guy that can guard him and slow him down. You keep that guy 8 to 12 instead of his 20 to 24. And if you can get that big guy in foul trouble, keep him out of the paint, just be physical. I mean, they got to ugly it up. Again, I agree with you. It's going to be hard for Duke not to score 70 points. But this is what I'm hoping for. This is my betting advice.
No, I get
but
it.
I'm hoping that I think they got a guy that can slow down Knipple a little bit. Let Cooper do his work, get his 25, 30, and then maybe physical up on Malawatch.
They got to find a way to push that guy away from the basket.
They got to keep him outside the free throw line.
Somehow, some way, just push him out, be physical, not pressure him, face guard him, do something to get him away from the paint, and definitely be watching for that action. Look, Kelvin Sampson knows what he's doing. He's smarter than I am, but it's easy to tell that they run that action a lot. So hopefully they can do something to prevent that guy from getting to the rack. I just don't see it, Josh. I hope you're right, man.
I'm just rooting for my bracket here.
I know. You need them. You definitely need Houston because like I said, a lot of people's going to have Florida, but I'd say most people probably had or have Duke, or maybe even, some SEC fans might have took like an Alabama or a Tennessee or a Kentucky. How many people's in your bracket? A lot?
44, something like that.
Have you looked? Is there a bunch of them that got Houston in the championship?
There's a guy. If Houston doesn't win, I'll lose because the guy's got Duke, and then I'll lose. And we both have Florida.
Houston's the one you need right there.
So,
all right. So you're going to have Houston and Florida in the championship. I'll have Duke and Florida. I'm not taking Duke to win it all. I don't care. Yes, they're really good, but I think Florida's really good too. I can't do it. You'll probably never hear Blitz the bookie pick Duke to win a championship. Got Florida beating Duke. I was a little bit different from you. You said about 4 weeks ago you thought Auburn was definitely the best team. That was right about when I started catching on about this Florida team. I think Florida has been the best team, especially for the past month and a half, 2 months, and maybe even just over the totality of the season. In this matchup, I'm taking who I think is the best team. I'm going with Florida. It's going to be a hell of a matchup, hell of a game.
I think that's the best game.
Out
of these two matchups or any of these combinations, I think the Florida and Duke is the best championship game we could ask for.
Yeah, I agree.
Athletes, both of them, we're going to get 80-something points. It's going to be a fun game. I like that matchup. I think Florida beats Houston kind of easily, maybe, just with their athleticism and the amount of guys that they use. But I think the Florida-Duke game could be the best game of the tournament. The way they match up, the athletes on the court, I think that could be a really, really fun game.
I agree, and I'm with you. If Houston does beat Duke, I've said it, I kind of like Houston, but I don't think Houston can keep up with the likes of Alabama, Auburn, Florida. Those were the ones that I kind of were pinpointing. They might not be able to keep up with Duke either, but I definitely don't think they would keep up with Florida. So if Houston does get in that championship game against Florida, I think they're in trouble.
I think it's going to take everything they got to beat Duke. They don't think they'll have anything left. All their punches are going to be thrown to beat Duke, and them getting to the championship, they're just going to kind of have to hope for the best, and I don't think it could happen.
And I do think this is probably the best matchup, like you said, Florida-Duke. Auburn-Duke would be fun too, and hopefully any of these matchups would be good. Houston's just a different style than these other three teams. So it's like a clash of styles, and you know Houston's going to want to slow down the game, muck it up. So you'd much rather see Florida and Duke running up and down the court, or Auburn and Duke running up and down the court. I do like this matchup. I'm going to say Florida wins it all, but to me, hopefully it's Florida or Auburn. I'm not a big SEC homer. I might sound like it sometimes. I'm really not. Anthony is. I'm not. But when it comes to something like this, especially against Duke, I wouldn't mind to see Houston win, but I would rather see a Florida or an Auburn get it done. Auburn's never won a championship, right?
I don't think so.
That would be Auburn's first, so that would be kind of cool. And I've never been a Florida fan. They're kind of one of our rivals, maybe a little bit, but I don't hate them. And I like their coach. I shouldn't say that because I know he's done some dumb shit that's been swept under the rug. I don't even know
what that was.
I don't even know what it was.
Why did it disappear?
Well, I don't even know what it was.
It was
like
something about some text, take some pictures, stalking some girls, maybe,
or something,
or just some co-eds or something. I don't know. I ain't going to spread rumors here. Allegedly, I really don't know what happened, but all of a sudden there were some tweets and some articles, and then it kind of all went away. So
initially when it first came out, I heard that it's probably going to be gone. And the next thing you know, that it's just never been talked about again, and now Florida's maybe the best team in the country about to win a national championship, and nobody will probably ever talk about it again. Or as soon as they win it all, the internet will go crazy and start dogging them. You never know. The internet's a crazy fucking place. So
both picking Florida.
Yep.
Go Gators.
Florida to win it all. I know Anthony's not here, but I'm going to make Anthony's picks for him.
Okay.
Because I think I know what he would do. He would go Florida, and he's been talking this Duke team up. Not that he likes Duke, but he has been calling it that Duke is really good, and I think he would have Florida Duke right here, and I don't think there's any way he would pick Duke.
Not a chance. No. Not a chance.
He loves the SEC. He would be picking Florida in here. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he would go with Auburn over Florida, but I think he would lean towards Florida. Maybe when he gets back in town, we'll ask him and post a video or something with his picks. But my guess, Florida against Duke, with Florida taking down the titles. Right now, he's probably on a bull.
Still.
Yeah, he's probably.
It's been like 2 hours. He's still on that same bull.
So we'll see what he thinks when we get back.
So
all right, yeah, that's it for this week, guys. So what we got? Final four, both games Saturday, championship game Monday night. Yep. Still the same as they usually do it, right?
Yes.
So by next week, we will have a national champion. Hopefully it's from the SEC. Guys, if you all listened the whole way through, thank you. We appreciate you all, as always. Don't forget, like and subscribe on the streaming platforms, and keep checking out. I know we don't post a lot, but we will continue to try to do more on the TikTok and YouTube and Facebook pages. So keep an eye on that. Josh, thanks for helping me out this week, man. I don't know. I might have been able to do it by myself. I just don't know how entertaining it would have been me here by myself. So glad I could get you in.
I appreciate the opportunity.
I could tell you used to host a podcast, dude. You're like a seasoned vet.
Dude, I sat in a basement and it was ridiculous. I didn't do anything. But I appreciate the opportunity. And thanks, Anthony, for going on vacation. Let me sit in for you. Hopefully I did you justice. And looking forward to hearing from you when you get back, man. Have fun.
Good times, Josh. I think it went great. And maybe if we have you on again, maybe you can tell us about that first podcast.
It was at the wood. It was called the Woodshed, and I'm trying to find it on YouTube. I don't even know if I was on it ever. I was there when it was being recorded. Shit was wild.
Look it up, the Woodshed. If anybody can find episodes of the Woodshed, audio, video, anything you can find, let us know. Send us a link, something. We're trying to find it. It's deep in the ether somewhere. It's out in the cloud. But I'm sure somebody can find it.
There's no pictures. This is old school. We're talking 10, 12 years ago. There was a picture of like a old outhouse looking thing.
The art?
The art, and then it would just play over that. But I think they had so many copyright issues because they were showing clips and videos and music.
Did they try to do video?
I don't know what they did, but
just audio.
All their stuff would always get suspended, and I don't know what they were doing, man.
There's a lot.
It was the wild west back then.
There is a lot of shit to worry about. You probably could have got away with it easier back then than you can now. All the copyright stuff. It is after doing the TikTok stuff and some of this stuff over the past 6 to 8 months. There's a lot of stuff that you got to kind of watch out for, stuff that you can put on the podcast, music that you can deal with. So I get it, but I feel like back in the day, they could have got away with anything. But
but people who listen, keep sharing, keep supporting these guys. This takes a lot of work for Charlie and Anthony to put this on. It takes a lot of time. So keep sharing, man. It's a lot of work. He's got a lot of equipment down here. He's doing good. I'm proud of him. So keep it up, Charlie. Keep it up, Anthony. Y'all blitz the bracket, blitz the Bitcoin, blitz the
bookie.
Blitz the bookie. Sorry, I couldn't give you gambling advice. I don't have any money in my account.
If you've listened to this podcast, it's a lot less about gambling than the name of the podcast kind of makes you think it is. We talk a little bit of gambling, but we're more just bullshit and telling our opinions. Our picks don't mean shit, to be honest.
So if there's things you guys want these guys to talk about, bring it up to them. You can always shoot me a text, and I can pass it on to the higher ups.
Yep. Keep listening,
give them some info. It's going to come into the slow days of the summer. These guys are going to need some shit to talk about. So thanks for listening, people.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week. Blitz the bookie, guys.
Yeah.
Charlie got the mic, he's dropping facts all day. Anthony's like, nah, I got the better parlay. Argue about the spread, it's a fierce debate. But when it comes to Wildcats, they align their fate. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. Late nights, hustle deals on the line. Charlie Scassy's gonna make you shine. Anthony's heart where the numbers combine. Put your cash down, ride the incline. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. From the tip off to the final play, they grind. Mike's on fire, bets on their minds. Arguing odds till the last rewind. Blue and white, it's a bond you'll find. The bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. Final play, they grind. Mike's on fire, bets on their minds. Arguing odds till the last rewind. Blue and white, it's a bond you'll find. Bond you'll find. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drum.